there you have it. This is my summer reading list, and it's small town romance, enemies to lovers, which are all of my favorite words when it comes to books. This summer is my reading oyster, and you are coming along for the journey. Hi, hello, welcome or welcome back. Today I'm taking you through a massive stack of books I own, and then this is my friends that she annotated. That's exciting. I also have a list of books I want to buy and read this summer, but I want your opinions, and I want to make this a journey of read with me for summer 2026. I am so excited to spend every single day outside reading as much as possible. Right now, I feel very hectic because I have a move coming up, but that is going to be over in about a week, and so that means after that milestone I will have a new book set up, I will have my list of priority reads for the summer, and let's just get right into it. I have a range of what I want to read this summer. Yes, I have some beach read romance types, but I also have fantasy, a myths and stories of wild women archetype, the nonfiction folk stories. Excited to talk to you about that one. I have a mystery, I have a thriller, and then what is kind of a new release or what Goodreads has recommended to me that I'm not sure if I'm gonna bite the bullet and buy, but I probably will. I'm trying to get through my entire physical TBR also, and that means a lot of random, underrated, and unknown books that I need to get through, which is kind of exciting because I'm helping you discover and myself discover books that I don't see online really often. So I am happy to kind of break the mold of what is always talked about online. But let's just get right into the books. The first one we have is Ruth Wears 0 Days. Why I want to pick this up is because it looked like the most fun mystery slash thriller on my TBR, and like I said, I'm trying to read all of the books on there. I honestly know absolutely nothing about it. I think this author wrote another really famous, The It Girl and The Woman in Cabin 10. I don't know if you've read any of those, but that's what she said she also wrote. This was given to me by Sabina, so I trust her judgment, and if she read it, I'll probably enjoy it. I am packing right after I film this for a trip that I'm leaving on tomorrow, so maybe I'll bring this along. Then we have Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, and this is actually her release from last year. This year's release is on my radar. I'm looking it up now. It's The Night We Met. And I'll talk about books that I'm considering buying to read this summer in a little bit, but that's on my radar. But Say You'll Remember Me, I do have a signed copy of, and I did not remember purchasing that, so that's pretty exciting. I want to get through it. I remember getting it on my Kindle months and months and months ago, and I just never got around to actually reading it. So I think this is the summer. It is, I'm pretty sure, a summer-based romance because Abby Jimenez's books always come out in May or June. So I'm honestly, because I'm talking to you, all I'm doing is scanning and not registering a single word of this text. So I like going into books blind. I'm really just giving you all these titles so that you can come along this journey and read with me this summer. But let me know if you've read any of them. Then we have Indigo Ridge, which I have no idea what it's about. Once again, I really like the cover. It's, I think, a trilogy or a series of some type, and it's small town romance, enemies to lovers, which are all of my favorite words when it comes to books. So I was immediately sold. Small town is so summer and cozy also. I love it. This book I technically started months ago and then kind of put down and paused. I got to page 8. But this is Black Swans by Eve Babbitt, and it's a collection of short stories. It's 9 stories that look back on the 1980s and early 1990s, decades of dreams, drink, and the glimpses of a changing world. I'm sold. I love Eve Babbitt. She also reminds me a little bit of Nora Ephron, and I don't read those types of books often, but when I do, I really get lost in the writing. I think she's so funny and witty, and it'll be nice to maybe read stories at a time as well, so this can be kind of an ongoing book throughout summer. This is such a random pick, but I need to get through my TBR, and I have a signed copy of this randomly enough, but this is Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I used to, of course, be obsessed with Tessa Bailey, just like everyone else, when she came out with, what was it, The Fisherman something, and all of those ones. There were 2. I read them and I liked them. I think she had other books that I enjoyed as well. And then I kind of just stopped keeping up with her books. I'm sorry, Tessa. But I bought this ages ago. I have another book on my TBR by her that I just bought ages ago and never read. But I did play my first ever game of golf last week. And so I think to initiate myself in the golf world for this summer, I'm going to read a golf book. That's why it's on my TBR. I hope it's good. I know nothing about it. I mean, it's for sure just a romance with a pro golfer from what I can tell. Then we have, I didn't realize I have 2 Abby Jimenez's on my list, but the Happy Ever After playlist, I have owned this for so long. After I read my first Abby Jimenez, which I think was part of Your World, I fell in love with her writing style and her characters and the emotional depth that she puts behind all of her books. It felt like Emily Henry. It just felt that little bit of elevated of a cheesy romance that I'm used to, which have their place in this world, but just not what I'm going for very recently, even though I just showed you that Tessa Bailey book. But Happy Ever After playlist, once again, I kind of know nothing about. I've just owned for eons, and please tell me it takes place in summer. I have no idea. Ooh, Musician on Tour in Australia, sold. But I am going to Australia in December, so should I read it then? No, I'm not waiting. I'm reading this summer. I love Australia, so it'll just make me think back fondly to when I went last year. My one fantasy on my list, but this technically turns into 3 because it's a trilogy, is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is the Last Hours series. I believe this takes place after the Infernal Devices. I'm not 100% sure, but I did read the Dark Artifact trilogy earlier this year, and I do own all of these. And I saw somewhere online that Cassandra Clare is right now writing and releasing the last ever Shadowhunters universe books / series. So I want to be up to date with that, which means I need to finish all of the other Shadowhunters book. And this is the last one. I've read everything except for these 2. I've read all of those books. All of them. So it's time to finish with the last trilogy that I didn't get to yet. I essentially read a prequel, which was The Infernal Devices, and then I read the sequel series. It just takes place right after the Mortal Instruments series, which was Dark Artifacts. And now we're on The Last Hours. I do own all 3. I don't know if I'm gonna go through all 3 this summer, but I'm really keeping myself accountable, and I'm excited to at least start that trilogy. So there are genuinely maple leaves, which is such a fall thing on the cover, but I don't care. I'm gonna do what makes me happy and read this when I want to read this. And I already have a bookmark in here. Oh, it's Monet. How beautiful. Lastly, of the books I physically own and really want to prioritize reading this summer is Women Who Run with the Wolves, Myths and Stories of the Wild Woman Archetype. Now, my best friend read and devoured this book, and probably for a month of her life, I think she just finished it last month, Jazz would not stop talking about this book in the best way. I love when a friend becomes obsessed with a book and cannot stop telling me about it. She would send me photos of pages she had annotated. Oh, I love this. There's so much highlighted. It's just such a lovely thing to read a book that a friend has annotated if they're willing to share that with you, because not only are you going through your own reading journey, but you kind of get to see how their reading journey unfolded. And honestly, a pivotal moment in our friendship, one of the first things that solidified you are my person, I gave her an annotated book years ago when we were just starting to really get to know each other. And then it was actually Where the Crawdads Sing, and that became a movie. So then we went to see the movie together, and it just really solidified, like, I am reading this book thinking of you, and I annotated that with in mind that I would give it to her. So I wasn't annotating for myself, but I was annotating for her. Versus this, I'm really excited. She annotated for herself, but now I get to read and draw my own conclusions, and I'm just so excited. I don't know really how you classify this type of book. I think she saw it on YouTube or TikTok or something and loved it. She said it was really important, I think, for women everywhere to read and just digest what is the material in here. And I'm excited. Everything she's shared with me so far about it, I loved. So I said, I will take on this tome of a book. And she did say I would probably have to use a dictionary or look up some words, which is exciting. Hopefully my vocabulary will expand this summer. But there you have it. Those are all the books I own and plan to read. Now let's take a fun look at some newer, more popular releases, which I'm considering. I am not going to buy any books this next week because I am moving. It would be absurd to add to the task of moving my books. However, looking forward to what can come after that. There is a new Tissa Bailey book I did not know about called S'more of You. That's really funny. It doesn't entice me. So for now, I'm not promising anything. I do have 2 Abby Jimenez's on this list already, but like I said, I'm considering The Night We Met, which is her release from this year. Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It by Brooke Averick. Everyone and their mother is reading this book. Of course, I think it's a big push because she's such a famous influencer. It's really nice actually to see a content creator writing a book and having good reviews. I think there's been a lot of distrust or hesitancy from readers to read something that is by an influencer because it's like, what qualifications do you have? But at the end of the day, anyone can write as long as it's a great story. So I've heard amazing things about Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It. I haven't picked it up myself, but maybe if I were walking in a bookstore and I saw it, I could be enticed. Let me know if you've read it. I honestly have only seen influencers read it, and I think it's because they were given advanced reader copies or ARCs, so not sure about that. Catherine Center has a new book. She is someone who, it's hit or miss with me. Sometimes I love her books, sometimes I really don't care about them. This one's called The Shippers. It looks like childhood friends to lovers and maybe second chance romance from what I'm reading on Goodreads. I don't really want to look too much into it. Otherwise, I'm looking through the Goodreads of hit new books this year so far, and nothing is really standing out to me. There's a new Elle Kennedy, which I didn't know. Love Song by Elle Kennedy. Oh, is it the children of campus? Because it's Blake Logan and Wyatt Graham. Graham as in Garrett Graham. Is it the children from off campus? I did not realize she had a series with the kids. Wait, yes, I read it. What was Briar U, right? There was Off Campus and then there was Briar U. Okay, I cannot get into a full new series. I also have to read, Elle Kennedy has a series set at a boarding school, I think like Misfit. I think it's called the Prep series. I'll put it up here. And I do own 2 or 3 of them, so in the fall probably I'll get through that. I don't know if I'm gonna commit to buying a whole new Elle Kennedy series right now. I do need to get through the books I own, but I don't have that many romance books left. I really read a lot of those, so my TBR now is mostly general fiction, some mystery, some fantasy, a lot of things that feel like dark academia and really good for fall, but listen, I guess I could read them whenever. I'm honestly surprised and impressed that there aren't that many new releases that are really catching my eye, because that just means less for me to buy and more for me to read that is already on my shelf. And I'm okay with that. But there you have it. This is my summer reading list. I did also just make a summer recommendation list, which is like the perfect soft girl summer recs. I did for when you're feeling like you have a crush, when you're enjoying like slow mornings, when you're giving yourself some self-love. I have a whole video on that, but this is what I plan to binge this entire summer and take you along for the ride. That is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really excited for my trip to hopefully get a lot of reading done, starting bright and early on my flight tomorrow. So I'll be sure to take you along the journey. But if you've read any of these books or have other book recommendations, please let me know in the comments below. And make sure to like and subscribe to know when I have a new video out. But that is all. Bye!